Season's greetings, one and all. A warm welcome back to the Big Five Racing Podcast, diving into the world of jumps racing. Thank you, firstly, for hanging out with us for the last couple of weeks. We've been a bit busy there. I've had to put up with England's god awful Ashes performances and try to put them into positive words. It's been difficult, but this will not be much tougher of a challenge. What a year it has been for the Big Five, too. Over 55,000 views, a record breaking Cheltenham festival for us. Over 10% of you joining us in the States as well. It is fantastic to have you on board with us. And I'm delighted this week for the Christmas special to be with the better half of the duo. Matty, happy Christmas. Really good year's racing in 25, I suppose. The headlines really have been the big price group winners on the flat, and then, of course, recently the British SP was smashed at Exeter. I'm going to assume you didn't manage to find any of them throughout the year, but I was just wondering what your highlight really of 2025's been and what you can kind of take away from this year from racing.
Yeah, no, good to be back on. And yeah, good question, actually. I suppose, first of all, I definitely didn't nail that 300 to 1 winner at Exeter, which would have been probably the best Christmas present you could ever ask for. But no, didn't manage to get that. I think for me, the day that stands out most was it the Wednesday or the Thursday of Cheltenham when Marine Nationale won the champion chase. And what else? We had somehow we had a it was a very emotional day anyway at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Two horses that Michael O'Sullivan had rode both went on to win. Jazzy Matty, that was the one, went on to win.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
Two horses that had been partnered by Michael O'Sullivan twice, and I thought that was just a moment that brought the whole racing community together, and at the best venue for National Hunt racing. So yeah, for me, that's a day that I'll remember probably for a long time. But yeah, the highlight of the 2025 for me is definitely that day at Cheltenham.
Yeah, oh, it was a fantastic day. I was there, and the emotion that was sort of outpouring as well, even from the Tuesday, whenever the Supreme was renamed for Michael O'Sullivan. I thought that was a really nice touch, and it set the day up really beautifully. It felt like he was there for those couple of days, and obviously really sad news at the start of this year. But that is a really good highlight. Mine had to be the second day of Royal Ascot. There was 7 races on the day. I had 5 winners. Flipped 40 quid into about 3 grand. You couldn't be off Brian Moore that day. It was incredible. But the entire year's racing has just been insane. And it's a bit of a brave question to ask that in truth, isn't it? This side of the 25th, because after this little brief national hunt break we're on for the next few days, we've got graded racing from Ireland, Aintree, Kempton. We've got the Welsh Grand National as well. And there is a genuine argument, isn't there, that this is the best time of year, really, because there's just high quality stuff everywhere you look for the next few days.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we're looking at probably one of the best King George renewals that we've seen in a long, long time. So can't wait for that. Like you say, the Welsh National looks also very competitive, and Leopardstown never fails to disappoint this time of year. So yeah, I mean we've named a couple of moments there, but there's no reason why those moments can't be topped over the next few days. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to watching all of it.
Absolutely, yeah. There we have it. So the order of play, Matt, you kind of alluded to it. That's going to be the very top of our program in here. It's slightly different to the norm, it being a Christmas special. We are going to just take you through the 3 biggest grade ones from the next couple of days: the Savills Chase in Ireland, the Christmas Hurdle from Kempton, and then the thrilling, as Matty said, King George Renewal, which I imagine is going to have plenty of wavering opinions on all of those respected races. We'll open up a best bet section as well to see what we both fancy from the rest of the action, because there's so much we can't cover every single race in detail, but we will give you our best bets at the very end of all of the races. The Christmas big three, then we're just going to jump straight into it this week, Matty, because the racing, like we said there, we're setting ourselves up with 3 fantastic races here. We're going to go to Ireland first because the division at the minute, of course, for the Gold Cup very much dictates what happens in these races. And on the 28th for Leopardstown, we have the Savills Chase, which is a great one, just over 3 miles. And obviously, we've got the return here of Galopin de Champ, but he's not the market favourite at present. I know the way you're thinking, who won the Gold Cup last year, out the back of the picture, the John Durkin. So that's a difficult kind of opinion to take. With Gallopin, of course, best place to start, isn't it, Matty? Because probably looking at the best national hunt horse since Corso Star, definitely in my opinion. Anyways, there's been some good ones in between, but this is the exciting horse, and obviously he skipped the John Durkin this year. He's into, I think he's going to turn 10 now next side of Christmas, and The big question on many people's opinions, and I'm interested to get your thoughts on this, is Gallopin's starting point here. Is this a kind of position you would want to bet him at 5-2, or are you waiting to see that greatness sort of reoccur when we get to the spring?
No, I think he's the bet in this race, to be honest. I wouldn't like to be backing. I know the way you're thinking at 7-4, to be honest. I just think we all know that John Durkan was always going to be a bit of a pipe opener, but I'd like to see how much that Gold Cup win has left on the horse. We know how much it can leave an effect on a horse. And yeah, I think he's far too short. Galopan, he's going for his hat trick in this race. They're going for 3 on the spin. 9-4 looks a fair enough price, and obviously he did have a small setback, which meant he missed the John Durkan. I don't think that's actually too much of an issue. I think
No.
he would have been off his feet in that race, and I couldn't have seen him getting near the front two, to be honest. Anyway, so I
If they were
imagine.
gonna miss a race, if they were gonna miss a race with him, that's what they would have skipped to get him fresh for this. You'd thought.
Yeah, exactly. So, you'd like to think a bit of extra time at home. He should be plenty fit enough for this. And this is his race basically, and he very rarely fails in it. So I think he's rock solid, to be honest. And I'd have the favorite and the second favorite flipped on the prices, to be honest. So 9-4, 5-2, I think it's happy days, and it'll be a fantastic moment at Leopardstown if he was to get the hat trick up, and fingers crossed he does.
Fastest slows the divide in the market. I just want to get a quick word on him. Obviously, we've seen him at Punchestown various times over the years. Towards the back of the season, he's got the better at Galopin de Champs. Would you give him much of a chance of his John Durkan run at fives, or are you happy to leave him?
Um, Happy to leave him, but wouldn't shock me if he was bang there. I mean, I can imagine this horse is going to step on a lot from the John Durkan. Ran respectively. We know 3 miles is more of his trip than 2.5. Um, But yeah, just I'd happily stick with Gallopin over him at the prices, and he always
Yeah.
just seems like a bit of a nearly horse. He always kind of threatens, and obviously he did get his day when he beat Gallopin. I think it was at Punchestown, but Gallopin fires more often than Fast or Slow does. So I'll stick with Gallopin for now. Just hopefully it's a good race, and the John Durkan was a fantastic race by the front two, but in behind we've seen a lot of a lot of soft rides and stuff, and a lot of them having their first run of the season. Hopefully we get a bit more of a proper horse race here. That's what we're all after.
Absolutely, and we won't see those two from the top of the John Durkan because we will speak about those in a moment in the King George course. I love Galloping here. He's probably the strongest of my three selections out of these three races we're covering as well. You only have to cast your mind back, like you said there, to this renewal 12 months ago when he took on Factor File. We had that famous Jerry Hannon call. He's unbeatable over fences here at Leopardstown, and I truly believe that. The ground's currently sitting on yielding. I don't see it getting fast enough to involve the likes of I Know the Way You're Thinking, who I just think it's far too short here, personally. I don't really know how you could back a horse like that at 7-4. Fastest still ran the best of the rest in the John Darkin, and I'll never discount him with his successes around Punchestown over Galloping. But if we get a true fresh showing of the champion here, I just don't think there's too much that's going to challenge him personally. It's his back garden, it's where he's best. He's still only 9. The Gold Cup's one thing, but I think for this Savills, he's well placed. Bigger prices as well. Heartwood's a horse I've stayed on side with a lot. Obviously, he beat Croke Park at the start of the season. Fourth in this last year before a really good second in the Ryanair. Doesn't seem all that out of place, I don't think, in this company. It's a sole entry over the holidays as well for Rob Core. I just thought he's around about 33s, 40s at the minute. Something's got to come into the places here, knowing Gaelic Warrior's not going, Factor File's not there. Something's got to pick up third, and I just thought he was probably the best of the bigger prices, but I'm in complete agreement with you there, Matt. Yeah, I think Gallopin, he should just be going on to win this. We've got two races from Boxing Day at Kempton as well, and these are two fantastic races, aren't they, folks? If you're going to sit and do anything, if you're eating your leftovers, these are the type of races you want to be watching. The 155 first is the Ladbrokes Christmas Hurdle. That's a grade one, just over 2 miles. We'll go to the top of the market. That is Sir Gino at 4-7 on his 364-day layoff. Golden Ace, who of course has now won two monster grade ones, is back here at 4-1. Celtic Dino 15-2. Huge prices about the other three that are in the race. We've cut down to 6 here, Matty, so we've lost our each way onto the race, which is a bit unfortunate. Sir Gino, top of the market. Of course, we seen him twice last year, won the fight in fifth brilliantly, destroyed Ballyburn over fences, sent in back hurdling, it was that bad. But of course, in really bad spirits then after that run at Christmas and was not seen for the rest of the season. This is his reappearance. 4-7 about a horse that's been off for a long time, but Nicky Henderson says he's the second coming. Do you believe him?
Yeah, I'm massively with this horse. He's going in. He's going in every single Christmas acca over the festive period. Football, racing. He's going in the lot. I think he's an absolute superstar. Obviously unbeaten, and just the fact that they've been able to take Constitution Hill out of the picture and just slide this fella in, and it looks like it should be seamless. I mean, he looked fantastic over fences at this meeting last year against Ballyburn. He made Ballyburn look completely ordinary, and we know how good Ballyburn can be on his day. I can't have any issues with this horse at all. Obviously, the layoffs, it's a concern, but we know he had an issue. We know he had a problem. So I just can't see any negatives to this horse. He should really be the class angle. Good to see Golden Ace finally getting a bit of a recognition at second favourite. If Sir Gino doesn't rock up, she 100% picks up the pieces for me. But I think Sir Gino really is the next coming, and I think he's going to be an impressive winner of this. And then you'd imagine he goes on to the champion hurdle, but short price. But yeah, like I said, get him in the Accas, get him in the multiples. I think he's a Christmas certainty.
Christmas certainty, and I suppose the idea there is he'll win this, probably go back joint favourite with Lossiemouth for the champion hurdle. Golden Ace is quite frustrating, isn't it? Because you see her at 4-1 and you think, I've missed out on her at what, 25-1, 18-1. You like the horse, but you look at 4-1 and think, oh, I can't back it now, can I?
No, not at 7-2, but I'm glad to see, like I say, she's getting the recognition she deserves now.
Yeah.
And like I say, if Sir Gino isn't quite there for whatever reason, which he's been off for a while, there's the potential for that, but she will pick up the pieces. But for me, I just think Sir Gino should be a class above these.
There we go. We're going to split opinion here a little bit because I just think Sir Gino's very, very short. I mean, look at his performances last season. You kind of just alluded to them. That hybrid status where he was very good. But it's been nearly a year to the day since we last seen him hammer Ballyburn, which obviously didn't provide much form lines over fences, but we're back over hurdles here, so that doesn't matter for too much. And he could easily be the second coming, but at the prices, I need to see him do it. I just can't buy into 4-7 personally. This division has been riddled with a status quo lately of just shock after shock. And I know that it needs a superstar, but I think there's just an air of vulnerability about the 2 mile hurdlers at the minute. I've spoken timelessly about my affection, of course, for Sam Thomas, and I'm going to have a chance here with Celtic Dino, who might possibly be the best horse in his yard. Cleaned up with the Welsh champion hurdle there on the opening weekend at Chepstow, ran a belter to go second behind what he in a race week over to Ascot. Really tough conditions, and that was over 2.5 miles. He goes back down to two here on what looks like good to soft ground. It seems to all kind of be working in his favour, to be honest. He's sort of trading around 7.5s at the minute, and I just thought it's a bit frustrating that we have had 8-9 runners. I had a little bit on this yesterday on my way up to Liverpool and managed to get a bit each way on, but it's frustrating that that's gone. But someone has to fill the places out. So I like Celtic Dino at the prices. Give it to me, OJ. He's been snuck in there at 80-1. We'd be remiss on this podcast not to mention that he's there. But it's obviously very tricky for a 4-year-old off level weights to go and win this. But it'd be very nice just to see him run a bit of a race. But it's going to be Celtic Dino for me. So Gino for Matty, you would probably be better on his side than mine for that one. The big race then of the Christmas period, in my opinion, probably in the top five races of the National Hunt season as well. One we all very much look forward to. Fueled by a fantastic Mullins contingent this year, this only needs to offer up probably half of what the John Durkin did to give us an absolute Boxing Day thriller. No footy? No problem. 2:30 brings you the 2025 Ladbrokes King George VI Chase over 3 miles from Kempton Park, and that's a statement I'm hopeful to keep making in the future. Absolutely dead eye stuff at the top of the market. This we have the Bull and the John Dorkin winner, Gaelic Warrior, who's currently 3-1. Back to File, the Ryanair winner from last year, 3-1. Django Bay, who was brilliant on Ascot's, currently the favourite as we record this. These three have been flip flopping like you wouldn't believe. And it's over to you, Matty Blackmore. Try and land this fantastic King George.
Yeah, I'm really, really sweet on Gaelic Warrior here. Since he won the John Durkan, I've really been taken by him. I was always a fan of him, but I think he's finally, um, you know, he's finally become the complete package now. He settles, his jumping's good. He was a bit fresh in the John Durkan, but you can forgive him that first start of the season. And I think Paul Towner was actually pretty good just to let him role, and I love the way I actually backed the horse that day, and turning in I thought I was nearly going to turn off. I thought he was going to be beaten, but he battled and battled and battled. And for a horse that wears a hood as well, he probably wouldn't have been able to hear Factifile coming to him. So he obviously got headed jumping 2 out, and the fact that he's managed to get going again, to get up. Now, there's question marks where the factor file is the most, did he want to go past too much? I'm not sure, but I thought Gaelic Warrior, you couldn't knock his battling skills there. Read a stat this morning. He's unbeaten going right-handed over 2.5 miles over fences. He's never been beaten. I think just plays into his strengths. There's going to be a great bit of pace on here. Obviously, Le Francais will go forward. I'd imagine the jukebox man will follow, and I think Gaelic Warrior can just allow to be switched off in midfield or dropped out and just take his time, get into a rhythm. And I think that a lot of them up front will cut their own throats, and I think it'll set up nicely for Gaelic Warrior. He's definitely going to stay the trip. He stayed 3 mile 1 round Aintree. I've got no concerns, and the more Django Bay gets backed in, the bigger I'm getting about Gaelic Warrior. So I'm delighted about that. He's one of my strongest bets over the weekend, over the Christmas period for sure.
7-8 going right-handed. His only loss was at the 2 mile novice chase to Ilite Tomb. Warm lines of line out there for your
I mean, you
parties.
can't knock that, can you?
That's extraordinary, really it is, and he's won some really good races going right-handed as well than last time out. Firstly, before we go to Django Bay, just wanted to talk about Factor File there. That you said there was obviously people who have commented about him not wanting to go past. With Factor File in this position, do you think it's a mentality thing for him, or do you not like him over 3 miles? Because in the 3 mile competitions he's had so far, he's been slayed twice by Gallopin, so he's not actually really proven himself as a 3 miler yet, I might suggest.
No, I'm not convinced. I think that the Ryanair's is his race, to be honest. But obviously, Willie kind of thinks different. Obviously, they have Majborough in the same colours, whether they think he might be the next Ryanair horse, and they're trying to push Factor File for a gold cut run. But then you've got to know the way you're thinking. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'd have doubts about his stamina. He's obviously got a fantastic engine, but the stamina doubts are with me, and
Yeah.
I don't have those doubts about Gaelic Warrior, to be honest.
Yeah, Django Bay. Why is he the 11-4 favourite?
Yeah, good, interesting question. I suppose he's least unexposed over the trip. We don't know how good he could be. He was very impressive when he won the Arkle, albeit it looked impossible from a stage. And then I thought he was very professional in the Ascot Chase recently. He looked like he'd matured a bit more, settled, jumped well. Was given a nice ride that day by Nico, and I can see why he's short enough, but I think he's still got to make a step up. Whereas I think Gaelic Warrior, he's been to a lot more dances than a lot of these, and he's proved himself now. And I think
Yeah.
he's probably one of the most talented horses in training. We know he can throw in the odd, stinker, so we just got to hope that that doesn't become a factor. But for me, he's a really strong fancy.
Yeah, and finally, just before I go with mine, we sort of have to mention the jukebox man here. He was very impressive, of course, at Haydock on Betfair Chase Day, 7-1. There's a couple of people I know, good tipsters, who are screaming at the fact he's 7-1. He's got no business being that big while the other three are threes. Any chance?
Definitely a chance. He's an improving horse, but his form is going to have to go to a new level. I mean, he won the Quarto Star last year. He beat Highland. Highland's now a handicapper, a handicapper at best. He did beat
Mm.
Iroko in the graduation chase. Iroko obviously went on to win last Saturday at Ascot, so that form looks okay, but it's nowhere near the form lines that you're going to need to win this race. So he's open to plenty of improvement, but I think I've got to see that from him before I could take a punt on him.
I'm in agreement. Yeah, I don't hate people who are trying to get on that at 7-1 because it's a big price, but I do think the three at the top of the market are probably justifiably twice the price, I should say, instead. Firstly, what an amazing renewal of this, and an equally amazing betting heat as well. To have 3-1 the field for a top quality renewal of the race is just so good to see. This is one of those races today. I like this horse. Come Boxing Day, I'm going to like another. But my heart has always been with yourself, Matty. Very closely drawn to Gaelic Warrior. A one-time utter menace at the game, but one thing he's never shown is frivolities and his ability to produce going right-handed, which is kind of what has sold it for me here, is that record of being 7 from 8. You go back to his win in the Faheen at Limerick as a novice, he was jump perfect throughout that. Beat the likes of Ilite Tom, who's obviously now probably the perennial champion chase contender, obviously in the John Dark, and then the ability to see Factor file off, that kind of stamped his authority to me as the key 3 miler at the very least in this race, if not in the Gold Cup division. Factor file for me still has to prove he can get the full 3 miles. I think he'll enjoy being right-handed, he'll enjoy Kempton. Whether he gets the 3 miles or he's just meant a 2.5 miler, I just don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if he won a course. I wouldn't bet this King George particularly hard. It's not the type of race I'd throw money on like I did with Allaho a couple of years ago. But you'd want to be throwing this kind of horse into your Boxing Day accas and multis, really, don't you? At such a good price. The market is so good for this. This is going to set the precedence of a Stone Gold Cup challenge for at least one of these, if not two, three, four, five. And of course, Willie Mullins, we mentioned it a few weeks on the podcast. He needs to win this race really to kickstart going towards that third trainer's title to go against Dan Skelton. So they should be picking up the win here, really. But I'm going to agree with Matty, and I think Gaelic Warrior is just simply going to be too good for them in the King George. There we go, then. That is the big three for this week. Some fantastic races. I'm sure everybody's going to be tuned in over the next 5 or 6 days to what is some brilliant, brilliant race. And we've got some festive bets before we leave you to get on with your turkeys. And I'm going to leave this as a bit of an open floor for both of us because there's about 14 or 15 grade ones. There's some cracking handicaps. I've got a pair of tips for either of those races. And I'll kick you off with my two to start with. So the 27th, I believe it is, at Leopardstown is where I'm going to go for my first one. It's the Future Champions Novices Hurdle. That's a grade one. And that is La Diffine in Font. And that is going to be a second run for the legendary William Mullins. Had 2 runs in France last season as a 3-year-old. This is a very classic Mullins purchase, really. He was taken on the colours of the Masters and family, was absolutely hammered into sixes on for his debut in Ireland at Thurles, but you did not have a single worry watching. 23 lengths the better of them, and going straight here shows you obviously what Sutton think of him to put him straight into a grade one and not wait for the Dublin Racing Festival. He jumped very nicely that day, cleared his hurdles very nicely. These novice comps in Ireland are usually pretty deep, and there's a nice Rob Core horse in there too, but with Townend going back to Ireland after he's in Kempton on the Friday, I think there's so much of that to like personally. The second of mine comes in the Welsh Grand National, which is the 27th as well, the 250 there. I've seen the entries for these a while ago, and I picked them up a little bit earlier in the show, of course, of Celtic Dino. It's another Sam Thomas horse here for me, Jubilee Express, who won 3 weeks ago at Chepstow, just short of 3 miles. He's only got up £4 in the handicap. That gets him a godly 10 stone 3 here with the likes of Haiti Galore taking the top weights. That just seems like excellent plotting, in my opinion. He's really consistent over the long distance. He was that dates back to the sticks from Haydock last year. I was at a meeting last March there. He won 3.5 miles on soft ground, so the test of what Chepstow can become shouldn't be too much of an issue for him. If the ground does die out, I probably wouldn't be jumping onto him. I am asking you to back the 5-1 favourite in the Welsh Grand National, but this was the best good price I have seen from like the 5 or 6 days of like plotting out trying to find my winners over Christmas. I think he's got a fantastic chance. I'd be stunned if he gets round. He's not in the extended places. For the Welsh National, Matthew, I have an opinion here that you've got a couple. There is just good racing pretty much everywhere you look over the next couple of days. Who are your best bets for Christmas?
Yeah, so there's plenty we could have gone from. First one's going to come from the half 12 at Aintree on Boxing Day. Minella Drama for Donald McCain and Brian Hughes takes the ride. Horse absolutely loves Aintree. Good to soft, perfect ground conditions, 2.5 miles. He was third in the Old Rowan on his last start. He won the race last year. Won the Old Rowan the year before. Sorry, he was third in the race. Like I said, and this looks a much weaker contest. Has to carry top weight, but that doesn't phase me too much. Around 7-2 at the moment, so I think that's a nice price for him. And then a little bit more low key, Wetherby 1 o'clock, Brookside Laugh or Skeltons. Charlie Todd taking the ride, first run in a handicap. He's been running okay in novice hurdlers. An opening mark of 99 looks very lenient. Steps up to 2.5 miles here for the first time. Just could be a typical Dan Skelton, horse improves for going handicapping, step up in trip, lowly marked. I think he should be a good bet. And I've already mentioned about him earlier, but Gaelic Warrior, he's going to be one of my best bets over the whole Christmas period. So there's three to go with there, but I'm sure, like you said, we're not sport for choice this Christmas period, so there's plenty of good bets out there.
Top one there, Benella Drama, Aintree on the Friday. I'm going to that card. We've got Brookside LA there from Wetherby as well for the Skelton team, and Gaelic Warrior in the fantastic Rich Richie Silks to try and round off what would be a very, very nice treble indeed. And there we go, folks. Short, sweet, handy, and as good as you like it. That is the Big Five Christmas special out of the way. I can't wait to get these fucking lights off my head. They've been doing my head in for the last 30 minutes. I don't know why I put them on. I thought I was cool. I'm not. Matty, Christmas now right round the corner. I think you finished work today. I'm just about finished myself till the ashes are back on. Um, I don't know if you're going racing on Boxing Day or over the Christmas period, but obviously, there's so much going on. What are your plans now for Christmas?
Yeah, so Christmas Day just be with the family. I think I'll be up to Market Raisin on Boxing Day. That's where Tris is riding, so hopefully take the trip up there with him. Decent enough card. And 27th, Chelsea away to watch the Villa. So looking like a good Christmas period and potentially eyeing up Cheltenham New Year's Day as well. So yeah, going to be a good Christmas period and hopefully a profitable one.
Yeah, definitely. That New Year's Day meeting at Cheltenham's fantastic because it keeps you in on the New Year's Eve, but it's just a really nice meeting to go to. Hopefully, you manage to get down for it as well because the racing's fantastic, obviously off the bounce of everything, and it's just such a good period, isn't it? I mean, there's so much to look forward to. Are you a turkey man?
Yeah, Turkey, and I believe there's a bit of gammon going about this year as well. So I can't complain with
Yeah,
that, to be honest.
we're on the double. You got gravy going as well.
Yeah. Can't be a Christmas dinner without gravy, and yeah, be washed down with plenty of pints of the black stuff and plenty of the bottles that you've already kicked off this evening. So
Yeah, I'm done work now, so it's a case of how pissed can I get between now and Christmas Day. So
we'll give it a good go anyway.
we will. Thank you, Matty, for coming on. I appreciate it. And thank you again to all of you. Like I said, over 55,000 of you have joined us across the year. It's been brilliant for us. That is us for 2025 as well. We will be back for the New Year's meeting, if not here, across our socials to get you some tips there. And then we are just a couple of months away now from the Cheltenham Festival, so there's plenty to look forward to. Hopefully, see you all soon, and I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. Take care.